Thank you. After looking at the origins of Bunyoro, we now look at how this greater empire rose and expanded. And there are factors to explain this. Factor number one is the strong and able leaders. The ones we call competent leaders. There are a number of competent leaders here. There are so many. The ancient ones, even before the rise of Kamurasi, there are so many others. Even from the time of the Luo arrival, we had those Bito rulers. We even now come to the present. All those rulers were competent in the sense that they would carry out imperial conquests and kept the empire intact. That is from external, ensuring that there is no external aggression. So the leaders were very much instrumental, and hence very instrumental in the rise and expansion of Bunyoro. Organization of Bunyoro. There was what we called centralized administration. What does that one mean? That power originated from above, from the king, from the Omukama. That is the political head, Omukama, who now gave orders to the lesser leaders from the prime minister. We are going to look at in the organization. Omuyikirwa now gave the orders to the chiefs. So you can see it trickled from the above and then downwards. This one meant that this one maintained loyalty, and because of the loyalty and obedience to the higher authority, there was no problem that rocked the empire, because it was politically stable. The strong army, it was very strong in the sense that it carried out imperial conquests and also maintained order in the kingdom, and also maintained surveillance along the borders of the kingdom. But in 1870, the army was made standing. Originally, it was not a standing army. In 1870, it was made standing. And who made it standing? It was Omukama Kabalega. Omukama Kabalega brought about the idea of a standing army. But before Kabalega, there was no standing army. What does that mean? That now the army would be called on for operation anytime it was needed. But before 1870, men would be mobilized by the chiefs to go for war, which shows that before Kabalega's reign, the kingdom was not powerful militarily. Raids on two neighbors, that it grew because of the raids on two neighbors. Example, Buganda. Buganda was very much raided. Buganda would be raided for what? For men to fight, for slaves, and for women to give to the to the soldiers. That's why at one time, when the Omukama of Bunyoro raided Buganda, the Kabaka was very, very, very frightened. And they met at a place called Nakulabye. And do you know how that name came to be? Because the Omukama of Bunyoro met the king, and the king was very frightened and said, Mukama wange, komao Nakulabye da, togeza. So that kind of fear and the respect for the Omukama king of Bunyoro was intended to show him that we are weak, we cannot manage you. So that's how we managed to get from Buganda. That's how Bunyoro managed to get from Buganda, by raiding them and getting what they needed. That was another factor for rise. Another factor for rise was the fertile soils. The fertile soils, which made sure that crops were produced, especially the staple food, millet, akalo. Millet was the staple food of Bunyoro. So because of the continuous production of this crop and many others, it ensured that that sustainability, all these were able to sustain the ever-growing what? Population. The rate at which the Bunyoro population was growing was high. It meant that there was a need to do what? To produce more and more food to ensure that these people are given what to eat and to sustain them. And that one meant that the population grew, and as the population grew, it meant that the kingdom also did what? Rose and expanded. Population size. This one can be explained by what we have just seen here. Fertile soils that grew and enabled the growing of crops to sustain the population. This population grew because it was now sustained by the food. And as the population grew, it meant that the kingdom would do what? Would expand. Natural resources like iron. Bunyoro was very lucky that it had iron what? Iron deposits. Yes, it had iron deposits. And because of the presence of iron deposits, it led to the rise of ironsmiths. It led to the rise of what? Ironsmiths. Ironsmiths, these were men with the specific, with the talent. Men who had talent and the talent to do with the iron making. So they made spears, they made so many items from the iron. What does that mean? Bunyoro now could not be invaded anyhow because they had iron implements like spears and arrows. And apart from that, they could manufacture hoes, which were now being used in the what? In the agricultural sector. So you can see that was very important. These ironsmiths were known as abajugusi. Abajugusi. They would heat the metals with fire. They would put charcoal and then heat. After heating the metals, they would now cut the metal into any shape they wanted, either a shape of an arrow or a shape of the what of a panga or a shape of a hoe. Abajugusi would find the kujuguta the muliro and go to what the people wanted. The abajugusi, the ironsmiths were very important. Next was the defensive barriers that Bunyoro was well sheltered from external aggression because of the defensive barriers. Natural defensive barrier. Example is Bunyoro forest. Bunyoro forest could not allow anybody to attack Bunyoro. Why? Because it would be a shelter. It would shelter. It would ensure that security was provided for the kingdom. Nobody would attack Bunyoro from that direction of the north, and that's where the threat was coming from. From the south, there was not enough. A big threat. But whoever would attack Bunyoro would find the Bunyoro forest as a what? As a hindrance. Even if they could attack from this side, they would find this other forest along the southern region. That is Bugoma. Bugoma would also provide what? Another natural defensive barrier. So that one alone enabled the kingdom to stay safe and away from external what? Aggression. Efficient system of administration, or efficient system of, this was administration, centralized system, but this is efficient succession order. Succession in the sense that the son, that is elder. In Bunyoro it was elder. In Buganda it was a son chosen by the leading chiefs. But in Bunyoro it was the elder son who replaced the what? The father. And what does that mean? It minimizes the succession disputes. That one minimizes succession disputes. That is true. That succession disputes never rocked Bunyoro because the sons already knew who would replace the dad. Although later it became a factor of concern when the royals started realizing that it was marginalizing others who would be potential what? Potential leaders. Trade is another factor for rise. Bunyoro participated in trade. The long distance trade with the Arabs and the coast, where they supplied slaves and even salt from the Kalbat, Kibiro sub-region. And those two items, coupled with others, rhinoceros bones, talk of hides and skins, talk of tortoise shells, talk of honey, all those items exchanged with the Arabs enabled that Bunyoro got a lot of what? Of revenue to ensure that it rises and what? And expands. Common language, Orunyoro, common language, Runyoro, or Orunyoro. What was the importance of the language? It was a unifying factor and an identifier. People identified themselves because of the language they spoke. And when they spoke it, they felt one, and together they were leading to a stable and organized kingdom. Lastly, the unity of the Bunyoro. Bunyoro traditionally were known to be people who loved each other. The people who loved each other cannot conflict. This is something traditionally known about the Bunyoro, that they loved themselves, they trusted each other, and because of that unity created, it led to the rise and expansion of the greater Bunyoro kingdom. And this one marks the end of factors for rise. And the next time we come, we shall look at the organization of this kingdom in the pre-colonial era.